Hi guys, welcome back to That's So Thinkative. I'm your host Janelle, aka the Baddies. Hope everyone is doing well. This is not a real episode. I just wanted to split up the question of the week this time because I actually got a couple people to send in there, so I wanted to really, really do it proper, do it justice. So the question of the week was, why do you think a lot of men seem to lack true empathy for others? Good question, Janelle. So I think a lot of men tend to lack a lot of empathy for most people is because of how society has taught men to be in the world. I think men are taught to be masculine, hyper, masculine providers, protectors, and strong, fearless, all these things. And showing empathy is like showing a sign of emotion. A weakness to them, or probably because that's how they're taught that emotion equals weakness. But yeah, I think it has a lot to do with how men in society are like boys, how we raise our boys, how we treat them, how we don't hold them accountable as much as we should. We'd say, oh, boys will be boys. Nah. Let's teach them some fucking empathy and some emotion and how to handle their emotions and deal with their own emotions. But yeah, let's see what y'all said. So this first one is a voicemail.
Hi, Janelle. I just saw your post pop up on my TikTok, and I thought, why not? Also, new follower. So, yeah. So, why does it seem like men lack true empathy for others? Now, I hope that from this you take away something, because I hope I just don't start to ramble. But I feel as though that men lack empathy for others because I think they're jealous. I truly think it's jealousy, and it's the kind of jealousy that I feel so bad that you feel this way, that you're experiencing jealousy, because I feel like every other group of person has experienced some type of movement in society where they kind of looked in on themselves and said how am I going to progress me and my group further, versus men, it's kind of been this pretty it's been the same thing for forever. Men are just tough guys who, really macho, really tough, and growing up, your dad will be like, boys don't cry, da 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 da. And so I feel like men their whole life have been able to see other people kind of change change what other people have thought of them and really progress themselves, versus men they haven't had that. And I kind of feel bad for them. And I truly feel like it's the downfall, and why we see such angry men today is because it's you haven't broken down all that's going on in there. There's a lot of stuff going on in that heterosexual men group that needs to be broken down that they have not gotten to. And I feel like that's what leads to this jealousy. And unfortunately, all that emotion, because they don't even know how to process that emotion, leads to anger. And we have seen that anger come out. We see husbands shoot their whole family. Most mass shooters are white men. I mean, and even not even to bring up the political, but all that angry men saying we control this, that's men jealous, right? That's the jealousy, the fact that they can't even empathize with women and what we want, so they get angry and they start making rules about our body, and and it's they are jealous that we women, I identify as women, and others are kind of making their way up in the world, and men still having no movement or type of reconstruction in the last, since the history of this country. I feel like they're just jealous. Yeah. That's my thought. I think that the fact that they seem to lack true empathy for others is jealousy. It is truly jealousy.
She ate. Wow. I can see that because like she said, she feels bad for them because they're not really taught to be their true selves. They're taught to be this version of them. I think a lot of us in general, but men in particular, since this is the topic, they really are taught to just be this version, this, really macho, masculine, heterosexual version. And I can understand how seeing a woman be their full selves and embrace that each and every part of it, I can see how that can make someone jealous that women have met themselves in a deeper level and they understand themselves in a deeper level, that they can express themselves. And men have a hard time being able to express themselves, I fear. Let's hear the next one.
Oh my gosh, this is such a cool concept for starters. I'll have to come back and revisit your podcast. But my ex-boyfriend recently got locked up, so I've been thinking about this question myself. And I do think, unfortunately, a big part of it is like how they were raised and how they were wired, and just like the mentality that men have had for generations now of just like the inability to be vulnerable. And I think vulnerability and empathy kind of do go hand in hand in a sense, because it's like you have to have experienced these things or experienced feeling similar to these things to have empathy for them. So it's like a lot of men I do think are privileged, especially when it comes to white men. I think that a lot of them have had their lives on a silver platter, or if not on a silver platter, have had things easily accessible for them, have had like many different opportunities and different people to reach out to, and they never really like hit that low that they've had to like see what it's like to just have nothing and no one and really be vulnerable and put yourself out there and just like have a whole new sense of self. And I think that that's a big key in like being empathetic in the first place. It's like putting yourself in everyone else's shoes. And I think that a lot of men have a hard time doing that, and a lot of them are incapable of imagining themselves in these situations or even processing what these situations could feel like. It's just a lot of ignorance. There's a lot of ignorance when it comes to men, and I hate using like generalized statements about things like this, but like it's just become very abundant that like the ignorance in men, and especially younger men. And well, I'm saying my perspective, especially younger men, because I'm surrounded by them, but I mean you can see it goes all ages. It's just definitely a top behavior as well. It's like I guarantee these shitty teenage boys, like you're gonna go see their family, and there's gonna be clear signs of why they're like that. Maybe their parents aren't shitty, but like maybe they've overdone it. Like in my situation, my ex-boyfriend, I believe his family is great. His parents are great. I think they over-babied him. They did too much. Like, and that's also a problem. It's like if you give someone so much leeway, it's like once they keep making these same mistakes and you keep forgiving them and keep like showing them that like no matter what I'm going to be there for you, like they walk on that when they are a teenage boy and they take it for granted. And that's what happened in his situation. I think that's what happens in lots of situations. They don't understand how good they got it until it gets really bad. And that's when most men develop empathy. It's like once they've genuinely hit rock bottom, which can take a whole lot. But yeah, that's a very interesting question, and I am very interested to see where this.
It got cut off. I'm gonna hope that she said where it goes. So thank you. I agree. I think it's a lot of, like I said the same thing. I think we pretty much said the same thing. I think a lot of ways that men are grown, are brought up, are raised, it plays a big part. So yeah, if they're not around people who are teaching them to be kind to themselves and honest and show emotion and be vulnerable, how can they do that to others or be that for others or see that in others, you know? And it reminded me of a video I saw on Kai Cenat, and I think, what is that band name? G Herbo, why I say it like that? G Herbo, he was, his son was crying on the like live or whatever that I saw, and he was comforting him saying, it's okay to cry, boys cry, men cry, yada, yada, yada. And that was a really touching moment, because I think a lot of times most boys do not have that, especially from a male figure. You're always told to probably tighten up. Like, you know, I know my brothers were, so I can imagine how hard it is to kind of like have feelings and deal with these emotions, not to cut them, like, you know, not to, you know, but like not to not hold them accountable, but I can see how it's tough to start doing that. But it's tough to start doing anything you need to do. Okay, so the next one said,
Yeah, I think it's a really simple answer in my opinion. I may be wrong, but I feel as if when you're a gender where people tell you not to feel emotions or it's not acceptable to express them, it's simply hard to learn how to express them if you're always told to hold in your emotions or not to cry or to be the quote unquote stronger person. So I think, men have a hard time expressing emotions because they've never actually have cried truly or really been able to share it with other men, because even among themselves, they're not really allowed to creatively express their emotions or freely express them without feeling judged. So I feel like it is hard for men to connect, or even for men to, tell women that we're too emotional, because we can openly express our emotions. And I do feel like that's why men just lack empathy.
I agree. I always like to ask men who, like, how deep are their friendships? Because you could tell a lot by a man and how he deals with his emotions with how he is with his friends. Because if you don't tell your friends anything, who are you telling things to? Like you have no one, but regardless, like a cousin, like, do you have somebody that you're sharing yourself with? Because I think we all need multiple people in our lives for that, and not just one person. And I think men don't really have anybody for that, for the most part. I'm just generalizing. If you do, I'm so proud of you. But I find it very rare to come across a man who has a good circle that honestly communicates with them, and actually they're all like emotionally intelligent enough to kind of like lean on each other. Like most of them, they don't even be mad about a happy birthday. Like your friend for 15 years, you hang out with this person every day and they didn't tell you happy birthday. That's not a big deal to them, which is because they're not emotionally, not attached, but like they're not emotionally open with their friends. So it doesn't bother them because they don't even allow that part to even get there. They keep, maybe this is me generalizing again, but that's just how I feel. Because yeah, ain't no way. Ain't no way. All right, we got one more left.
I think men lack true empathy because they've been taught that it's wrong. They've been taught that if they show it, if they empathize with others, they're weak. And so that's why they don't do it. That's all.
She has a beautiful voice. I like it. Yes, I agree. Like I said, I think men they're taught a certain way. They're taught to live a certain way. So it's kind of hard to, not kind of hard. It takes an aware person to acknowledge something within themselves that is worthy of being changed. So yeah, I'm wishing y'all all well for dealing with any man who does not know how to show empathy. Wishing you nothing but love. I want to say thank you to the people who submitted. This means the world to me. I love being able to connect with people and get to know what you guys are thinking, how you guys are feeling. So check in next week for another question of the week and be on next week's episode. It would mean the world to me to hear from you, to see if I agree, see if I disagree, see where we can kind of like, but that's the end of this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate it and I appreciate you. So please like, comment, subscribe, or whatever you feel like doing, if you feel like doing it. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.